The world sees you as too sensitive, broken, or weak because of how you react to situations, chosen one. People often misjudge your boundaries in silence. They may look at you and think you're fragile because you choose to step back, to remain silent, or to shield yourself when the world gets too overwhelming. But what they fail to realize is that your reactions are not signs of weakness. They are the marks of a survivor. The world may not understand you, but that's because they don't know your full story. You, chosen one, are misunderstood. But that's all right. You have been through experiences that have shaped you into who you are today. Those experiences, painful as they may have been, have built a survival instinct within you, a mechanism that helps you protect yourself in a world that often fails to understand the depth of your sensitivity. Your silence? It's not a sign of surrender. It's a choice, a deliberate act of guarding your peace when everything around you feels like chaos. One of the most significant ways you've developed your resilience is through compartmentalization. This is not the same as shutting off your emotions. It's a method of managing overwhelming feelings without letting them take over. You've learned how to separate the emotional weight from the functional, allowing you to carry immense burdens without letting them consume you. While others might have been paralyzed by grief, fear, or stress, you learned how to process these emotions in their own time, while still carrying on with what needed to be done. This advanced form of coping allowed you to stay focused when others would have faltered. You didn't ignore your feelings. You learned how to manage them. You learned when to allow yourself to feel deeply and when to place those feelings aside in order to keep moving forward. And when the burden became too much, you found ways to release it, to make space for recovery, for healing, for renewal. Your ability to compartmentalize has not only helped you survive, it's helped you thrive in situations that others would find unbearable. And while others may criticize your calm, your silence, or your choice to retreat at times, they fail to see the depth of wisdom behind your actions. Your coping mechanisms aren't signs of fragility. They are the tools that have kept you whole. This ability to carry burdens without them collapsing you is a rare gift, chosen one. It's the type of strength that comes from truly understanding how to survive, how to endure, and how to emerge from the hardest of circumstances with your head held high. And while the world may not always understand your ways, they can never take away the resilience you've built, the strength you've developed, or the power that lies within you. Your strength, chosen one, isn't something that can be easily understood or defined by the world's standards. While others may mistake your reactions as weakness, those who understand human behavior, those who see the deep inner workings of resilience, recognize the incredible strength you possess. Your ability to survive without formal training, to cope with life's challenges using mechanisms that others cannot even comprehend, is a testament to your unique power. What the world doesn't see is the mental toughness you've developed through years of real-life challenges. It doesn't see the quiet strength in your silence, the resilience in your retreat, or the fortitude in your boundaries. But you know the truth, chosen one. You are strong beyond measure. And though others may not understand your journey, the psychologist, the true observer, knows the real depth of your strength. And that, chosen one, is something no one can take away. From a young age, you were forced to read the room, where others may have been focused on the mundane, on what was happening in the immediate moment. You learned to sense the subtle shifts in energy around you. You became hypervigilant, attuned to the smallest details that could signal danger or change. Whether it was a shift in tone, a subtle change in behavior, or an unspoken tension in the air, you were always 2 steps ahead, preparing for what might come next. This constant need to assess and adapt to your environment wasn't something you chose. It was a survival instinct that developed out of necessity. Growing up, you learned quickly that the world around you was unpredictable, that safety could not always be assumed. So, you built a skill set that few could even comprehend. You developed the ability to detect threats, whether physical, emotional, or psychological, often before anyone else even noticed. This wasn't a choice. It was an automatic response to the environment you were placed in. And while others lived in a world of stability, you learned to operate in a heightened state of awareness. Your nervous system, constantly in overdrive, processed emotional equations and predicted outcomes. You calculated the risks of every interaction, every environment, every situation. While most people were concerned with their daily routines and the small, everyday challenges of life, your mind was doing something else. It was constantly analyzing, predicting, and assessing. You developed an emotional intelligence that went far beyond what others typically experience, an intelligence that allowed you to navigate life's complexities with an acute awareness of the emotions and energies around you. You didn't just react to life, you anticipated it. You could read the subtle language of body posture, facial expressions, and energy shifts. This hypervigilance wasn't a luxury. It was a necessity for survival, shaping your understanding of the world and your place within it. You learned early on how to carry grief, pain, and emotional burden like background noise, constantly humming beneath the surface, but never quite overwhelming you. While others may have faltered in the face of emotional overload, you continued to function. You put one foot in front of the other, day in and day out, because you didn't have the luxury of breaking down. The world didn't stop, and neither could you. This silent resilience became a hallmark of your survival. You carried the weight of your emotions, your pain, your grief, but you didn't show it. You learned to endure without complaint, to hold your emotions tightly within, only releasing them in the safety of solitude or in moments of exhaustion. Your ability to continue, to persist, while feeling the crushing weight of your emotional world, became your quiet strength. However, while others praised you for your ability to keep going, to survive without breaking down, they couldn't see the true cost of that resilience. They didn't understand the toll it took on you, the emotional and psychological strain of carrying so much without letting it consume you. People around you may have admired your strength, but they didn't know the depth of the emotional labor that went unseen. You weren't just surviving the world's challenges, you were navigating them, while also carrying an internal weight that would have crushed others. Your silent resilience was a powerful mechanism, but it also came at a price. The cost of constantly holding it together, of never truly allowing yourself to feel fully or to break down, is an unseen burden that only you truly understand. Others may have seen your calmness, your ability to endure, and mistaken it for an absence of emotion. But in truth, you were carrying a vast emotional landscape, always functional, always steady, but never truly free of the weight you bore. And this silent strength, this ability to endure without ever fully collapsing, often went unnoticed. But while the world may not have recognized it, your inner strength was something that shaped who you are. Powerful, unyielding, yet quietly carrying burdens that no one else could see. Your independence grew not from choice, but from necessity. From a young age, you were forced to rely on yourself. The support systems that others may have had, the networks of people who could help them shoulder their burdens, weren't available to you. So, you adapted. You became your own support system, your own guide. You learned how to make decisions under extreme stress, to regulate your emotions even when everything around you was falling apart. This self-reliance wasn't a luxury, it was survival. You had no choice but to function alone, to become the master of your own emotional regulation. You learned to make decisions in moments of pressure, to analyze situations and determine your course of action without relying on others for validation or guidance. This self-sufficiency became your strength, but it also came at a cost. You built your independence on the foundation of necessity, but over time, that foundation became something more. It became a fortress, one that kept you safe, but also kept you isolated. In learning to function alone, you became incredibly skilled at managing your emotions and making decisions without external support. You became adept at taking care of yourself emotionally, even when it felt like no one else was there. But this independence, while it served you well, also created a barrier between you and the world. Over time, the habit of relying solely on yourself became ingrained, making it harder to reach out, to ask for help, or to allow others to carry some of your burdens. The price of this independence was the isolation it created. You learned to function in the world without leaning on others, but it also meant that you had to carry everything alone. You became self-sufficient to the point where vulnerability seemed unnecessary, where leaning on someone else felt almost like a weakness. But this wasn't a weakness. It was a defense mechanism, one that was born from a necessity that others couldn't understand. The challenge, chosen one, is that in your journey of self-reliance, you may have forgotten how to share the load. You may have become so used to carrying the weight alone that it became difficult to allow others in, to trust that others might be willing and able to help. But remember this, self-reliance is powerful, but it doesn't have to mean isolation. You are strong, chosen one, but there is power in allowing others to be part of your journey. It doesn't diminish your resilience, it enhances it. You, chosen one, have built a resilience that is beyond measure. Your boundaries? They aren't walls. They are shields, keeping you safe, keeping you intact. Others may call you weak, but you know better, don't you, chosen one? You know that what they perceive as fragility is really your inner strength at work. You've learned to protect your energy, to retreat when necessary, and to allow yourself the space to heal and grow. And that is a power that cannot be easily understood by those who only see the surface. Imagine, chosen one, a person who has spent years studying human behavior, someone who's seen the most extreme forms of resilience and vulnerability. A military psychologist, trained to observe soldiers and operatives, people who have been pushed to their physical, emotional, and mental limits, sees you differently. They don't see weakness or fragility when they look at you. No, they see something entirely unexpected. They see a strength in you that others have missed. Your ability to survive, adapt, and thrive in difficult circumstances has shaped you into someone who possesses a unique emotional intelligence, one that allows you to read the world and navigate its challenges with a depth that others cannot see. Your hypervigilance, your silent resilience, and your self-reliance have become the foundation of who you are. But while these traits have served you well, they also come with hidden costs. Costs that only you truly understand. As you continue to grow and evolve, remember that your strength is not just in your ability to survive, but in your ability to allow others in, to lean on those who are willing to support you. You are strong, chosen one, but you don't have to carry everything alone. You've faced challenges, chosen one, that would have crushed most people. Grief, hardship, emotional turmoil, and external pressures. But through it all, you've built resilience. Your ability to endure situations that most would have found unbearable is a testament to your strength. This resilience is not something that can be easily measured or compared to everyday toughness. It's on a whole other level. It's the kind of mental fortitude that parallels military operatives, soldiers trained to survive in the most extreme and high-stakes environments. These operatives face unbearable physical and mental stress during their training, pushing their limits in simulated life-or-death situations designed to break them and then rebuild them into something stronger. What most people don't realize is that the same principles of training apply to emotional and psychological endurance. And you, chosen one, have unknowingly put yourself through the equivalent of an operator's mental conditioning. But instead of going through drills in a controlled environment, you were thrown into the chaos of life. You were thrown into real battles, real pain, and real loss. And somehow, you survived. Not only did you survive, but you thrived. You may not have had a formal instructor or a guide to help you navigate the emotional landscape, but over time, you learned, you adapted. Each hardship became a training session, each moment of emotional overload a drill to teach you resilience. You learned how to endure with a focus and determination that many would never understand. And as a result, your emotional intelligence has been refined. Just like an elite operative, you've learned when to endure and when to step back, when to push through and when to retreat, and how to operate under extreme stress while maintaining clarity. But unlike the traditional model of pushing through pain indefinitely, you've learned the most crucial lesson of all. True resilience is not about endless endurance. It's about knowing when to downshift, when to recalibrate, and when to activate your survival mechanisms in the most effective way. It's about discerning the difference between when you need to fight and when you need to allow yourself to recover, to reassess, and to grow. And that, chosen one, is your power. The ability to move through pain with purpose, to endure not out of necessity, but out of a conscious choice to keep moving forward. There comes a point, chosen one, when survival is no longer enough. It's no longer just about getting through the storm. It's about using everything you've endured as a stepping stone towards something greater. You've been living in survival mode for so long, just getting through the day, battling emotional and psychological weight that others can't even imagine. But now, you're standing at a crossroads. The strength you've built through hardship is no longer just your survival tool. It is transforming into something far more powerful. Your pain tolerance, which once kept you alive, is now the foundation for your next chapter. You've reached a point where you are no longer just enduring. You are learning how to thrive. The lessons you've learned from years of emotional endurance, how to adapt, how to adjust, how to protect yourself, are now becoming the bedrock of your potential. You are moving from being a survivor to being a creator, an influencer, a leader. Your strength is no longer just a defensive mechanism. It's becoming an active force, one that allows you to shape your world instead of merely reacting to it. For so long, you were playing defense. You were in survival mode, navigating the chaos and trauma of your past. But now, chosen one, it's time to shift gears. It's time to take everything you've learned, everything you've endured, and turn it into a tool for creation. This isn't about merely surviving anymore. This is about thriving. This is about using your pain as fuel for your next evolution. Your resilience is no longer just about enduring the storm. It's about becoming the force that shapes the future, that defines your path, that influences others. You are moving from being a passive player in your own life to becoming an active force of transformation. And here's the beautiful thing, chosen one. you're not just surviving anymore. You are now learning how to operate with intention. You are becoming deliberate in your actions, in your decisions, and in your approach to life. No longer are you reacting to the world around you. You are learning to create the world you want to live in. You've spent years learning how to survive under pressure, how to endure pain and hardship. But now, you are learning how to turn that pain into power. Here's where the real transformation happens, chosen one. You are no longer defined by the pain you've endured. Yes, that pain shaped you. Yes, it made you who you are today. But it is not your identity. Your identity is not in your pain. Your identity is in the strength you've cultivated through it. You have reframed your suffering, not as something that has held you back, but as something that has propelled you forward. Pain in the past was something you endured, but now you're learning to use it as a resource, as a source of power. Every trial you've gone through, every hardship you've faced, every moment of emotional overload has been a stepping stone to this new phase in your life. You have a wealth of experience. Pain, yes, but also lessons, wisdom, and strength. And now, you're learning how to use that experience not just to survive, but to create. You've reframed pain as power. And this shift in perspective is key. It's not about ignoring the pain, pretending it didn't happen, or trying to escape it. It's about acknowledging it, understanding it, and then using it as the foundation for your next chapter. You are no longer just the survivor of your past. You are a creator of your future. Your pain is not your weakness. It is your greatest asset, a tool you can use to shape the life you desire. What once held you back is now propelling you forward. And this shift from survival to transformation will be the defining chapter of your life. It's time, chosen one, to stop just surviving and start thriving. The strength you've built through your pain is now the fuel for your superpower. You've adapted, you've endured, and now you're ready to create, to lead, and to step into the full power of your transformation. Your journey, chosen one, has been one of incredible endurance, and now you stand at the threshold of something new. The pain you've endured, the hardships you've faced, and the resilience you've developed are not just part of your story. They are the foundation of your transformation. You are moving from survival to a place of creation, from pain to power. The strength that once kept you alive is now the tool that will propel you into the life you were always meant to live. This is your time, chosen one. The transformation has already begun, and with it comes the power to shape your future, not just react to it. You have everything you need to not only survive, but to thrive. The world is waiting to see what you will do with your pain, your power, and your resilience. The military psychologist's words were more than just a recognition. They were a turning point in your journey. They saw the strength in you that had long been buried beneath layers of survival and pain. These words were not just validation. They were a recognition of the profound transformation that had been quietly taking place inside you. What was once simply the ability to endure pain has now become a driving force, shaping the way you live, think, and act moving forward. You've transcended the very thing that once held you down. You've turned your pain into power, and this shift has opened the door to new possibilities, new horizons, and a new you. In those moments of reflection, you began to realize that your survival wasn't an accident. It was your resilience, your determination, your inner strength that kept you going. And now, That same strength is propelling you toward a future where you no longer have to fight just to survive, but where you can thrive, create, and lead with the tools you forged through hardship. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances, chosen one. You've broken free from the chains that once defined you. No longer are you bound by the pain of your past. Instead, you are a living testament to what happens when resilience meets transformation. Your journey has been one of survival, yes, but also one of growth, learning, and reinvention. They recognize a unique survival trait within you that most people cannot even comprehend. They see past the way you react to stress, past the boundaries you've set up, past the silence you've chosen, and they understand what makes you strong. Your sensitivity? It's a finely tuned instrument that has kept you alive through life's hardest trials. Your retreat? It's a strategic move, a way to protect your inner peace and recharge your strength for what's ahead. Your silence? It's not a sign of weakness, but of inner wisdom, choosing the quiet space to reflect, recharge, and gather your strength for what's coming next. In a world that's quick to judge, chosen one, this psychologist sees the true depth of your resilience. They recognize that you have been conditioned by your experiences to survive, to adapt, and to push forward, even when everything around you has seemed to collapse. The tactics that once kept you alive, your ability to assess, endure, and adapt, are now the very tools that will guide you to greater heights. You're no longer reacting to life's challenges. You're stepping into your power, taking charge of your future, and using your experiences to create a life of purpose, fulfillment, and impact. The truth is, chosen one, your story is just beginning. What you've been through has prepared you for what's ahead. The strength that once sustained you is now the foundation upon which you can build a future beyond your wildest dreams. Now, as you step into this newfound strength, the question is no longer about how much pain you can endure. It's about what you're going to create with your resilience. You've proven that you have the capacity to survive the worst life can throw at you. But now, it's time to ask yourself, what will you create with all that strength, all that wisdom, and all that power? This next phase is yours to shape. The sensitivity, the boundaries, the silence. All of it is your mechanism for survival, your shield against the noise of the world, and your way of staying true to your purpose. You, chosen one, have a resilience that cannot be measured by external judgments. You are a survivor, a warrior in your own right. And while the world may fail to see that, those who understand the depth of human resilience know the truth. You are stronger than you could ever imagine. In the eyes of many, you might appear fragile, sensitive even. Your reactions to life's challenges, your emotional responses, your boundaries, all of these may be misinterpreted as signs of weakness. But to a trained eye, someone who understands human behavior on a deep instinctual level, what they see is something entirely different. A psychologist, particularly one who has worked with military personnel and operatives, would recognize in you a strength that mirrors the resilience of soldiers who have undergone extreme mental conditioning. These soldiers, trained to withstand physical and mental trials, often face unimaginable stress, trauma, and pressure. Their conditioning is intense, but it is precisely this exposure that builds their mental toughness. The psychologist sees that same capacity within you, the same capacity to endure, to push forward, even when it feels as though everything is falling apart. The key difference, however, is that unlike the soldiers who are put through simulations and structured training, your resilience has been forged in the crucible of real-life experiences. While others might have seen you react in ways they didn't understand, perhaps with tears, hesitation, or retreat, You were quietly building an inner fortitude that few will ever recognize. The world may not understand your ways of coping, but this psychologist does. Your resilience wasn't a result of formal training, but of living through what you have lived through. Where others might collapse under the weight of emotional or psychological strain, you've developed a high tolerance for pain. This isn't numbness. It's the ability to feel deeply and still continue. Your emotional responses, your tears, your quiet moments of retreat are not weaknesses, but indicators of a deeper strength. Because even in those moments, you're still standing. You're still moving forward. And while others may write you off as fragile, those who understand the human mind know that the strength you've developed is not only rare, but incredibly powerful. Unlike the soldiers, chosen one, you didn't have the luxury of a controlled environment to build your mental resilience. There were no instructors guiding you through the tough moments, no mentors to show you the way, no structured programs to prepare you. Life didn't offer you a manual, a set of guidelines, or any kind of how-to for survival. You were thrown into the chaos, into real-life situations where the stakes were high and the consequences were real. You didn't have a choice but to learn as you went, to figure it out on your own, to adapt. In many ways, your survival was built from the ground up, without any formal training. You had to rely on your instincts, your ability to problem solve in the heat of the moment, and your willpower to keep going when everything around you seemed uncertain. And here you are, chosen one. You made it through the hardest moments of your life, not because you had a guidebook or a system of support, but because you figured it out as you went along. Every experience, every challenge you faced, contributed to the mental resilience that now defines you. You built this resilience yourself. It wasn't handed to you. And that makes your strength not only unique, but incredibly profound. While others may have been conditioned in structured environments, you built your mental toughness in the real world, where there are no resets, no do-overs, no controlled conditions. You survived because you had no other choice but to grow stronger. And that strength, chosen one, is the kind of resilience that's forged in fire, the kind that others cannot simply replicate, no matter how much training they go through. Your survival didn't come from a place of numbness, chosen one. It didn't come from shutting off your emotions or suppressing your feelings. It came from learning how to carry burdens that would collapse others, without letting those burdens interfere with your responsibilities. Your coping mechanisms are advanced, finely tuned through years of living through hardship and learning from each experience.